Red light runners causing wrecks or getting caught, drivers dodging rear-end collisions or not, speeders sliding sideways, and road tires running wild. On Wham Bam Dashcam, we've got a little bit of everything, so buckle up. Aaron was on his way back to work after lunch when he spotted the driver of a Kia Seltos slowing down for a green light. Watch what happened when they suddenly turned left across 3 lanes. The Kia driver turned into the path of a police SUV, sideswiping it as it was passing at approximately 60 miles per hour. Aaron stopped and checked on the police officer, and thankfully both he and the Kia driver were unhurt. After Aaron provided a witness statement to another police officer, he found out the cop who'd been hit had just finished his training period, and this was his first day on patrol by himself. What a way to kick things off. Josh watched a truck run a red light before T-boning a Lincoln Navigator. Josh told us police responded while he assisted the SUV driver in removing personal items from her wrecked vehicle. He later sent her a copy of his dashcam footage. Thankfully, neither driver was seriously injured. This submitter watched the SUV driver ahead of him cruise through a red light without even touching the brake pedal, but he wasn't the only one watching. A police officer took off after the red light runner, no doubt to deliver a serving of instant justice. Our submitter told us he and his wife watch every Wham Bam Dashcam, Tesla Cam, and Security Cam video together. Awesome! If you're a fan, take a second and make sure YouTube didn't unsubscribe you. If the subscribe button is red, click on it to make sure you get every new episode in your subscription feed. Ruben experienced an insane close call when he watched a semi-truck rear-end the car behind him in his rearview mirror. Ruben slammed on the gas and swerved around the vehicle ahead of him, barely avoiding getting rear-ended himself. He stopped to give the victim a copy of his dashcam footage. Thankfully, nobody was seriously injured in the collision. This video just goes to show how important it is to pay attention to everything around you while driving, even while completely stopped. Instead of reading that text, check your rearview mirror. You might be glad you did. Adil was driving on a road with a special third lane that's only open to traffic during morning and evening rush hours. The rest of the time, it's supposed to be a shoulder used only for emergencies. This was a Sunday afternoon, and evidently another driver either didn't know about the special rule or perhaps they didn't care. Either way, they found out the hard way what happens when the rule is broken. After speeding past a police car, the scofflaw got pulled over onto the same shoulder they'd been abusing. Adil just kept right on driving while the other driver took their helping of instant justice. Merger was driving down a hill in the rain when an oncoming truck turned across his lane, but things only got worse from there. When Merger tried to swerve around the truck, an oncoming van also cut across his lane, and he had to slide into oncoming lanes to avoid a collision. He told us he stayed under the speed limit for the rest of the day. Now, it's true that the oncoming drivers technically had a yellow light, but Merger still had the right of way in this situation, and those drivers should have yielded to oncoming traffic going straight. We're just glad he's okay. Gary's grandmother was driving her Hyundai Venue down a Massachusetts highway when the driver of a red car went speeding past her before losing control and slamming broadside into a guardrail at high speed. Gary told us he thinks the red car was a Honda, but it looks more like a Toyota to me. Comment below if you can identify it. Regardless, his grandma stopped and called 911, then waited for firefighters to respond. As far as Gary knows, nobody was injured in this collision. He told us he and his family love our videos and watch them all, and he used to watch them with his father before he passed away. Gary, while we're sorry for your loss, we're also grateful we could provide you with some good memories of time spent with your dad. Jessica was on her way to work on a Tuesday morning when the semi-truck ahead of her ran over a tire and sent it bouncing off the side of a pickup truck and onto the back of another semi. Jessica told us that she ended up passing that other semi about 20 minutes later and the stowaway tire was still there. According to her, nobody involved stopped or even slowed down, and she still has no idea where the tire came from. Victor spotted a Jeep doing Jeep things. The Jeep driver turned across an oncoming lane, failing to yield to a car approaching at high speed. The resulting head-on collision spun the Jeep around and sent debris flying everywhere. Thankfully, Victor's Toyota RAV4 wasn't involved in the collision, and he told us nobody appeared to be hurt. He stayed on the scene and provided his dashcam footage to the responding police as paramedics assisted the victims. Silent Wolf sent us a good demonstration of why you should always be alert and ready to react to the poor choices of other drivers. When a Honda driver pulled out onto the road, Silent Wolf dodged around them, avoiding what would have been a brutal head-on collision. Remember, never assume other drivers will do the right thing. Jim was on his way to band practice when a driver clear on the right side of the road suddenly cut across to reach the left turn lane, while the light was still green and Jim was approaching at full speed.
You stupid son of a...
With traffic on both sides and nowhere to go, Jim locked up his brakes before slamming into the side of the car. When police arrived, officers spoke with the septuagenarian car driver and his wife before getting Jim's side of the story. Get this, the guy told the cops that he'd been stopped at a red light when Jim slammed into him out of nowhere. By the time an officer came to talk to Jim, he already had his dashcam footage queued up to show him what had really happened. After seeing this video, the cop wrote the other driver a citation, to which he immediately protested, insisting that Jim was responsible. That's when the officer informed him that Jim had dashcam footage and the matter was settled. The other driver's insurance paid nearly $2,500 to repair Jim's Toyota 4Runner, while the driver ended up with citations for failing to yield the right-of-way and for making an improper lane change. Ouch! This submitter was headed home during rush hour when he encountered a Tesla behaving badly.
That Tesla man can't drive. That Tesla man can't drive. That Tesla man can't drive.
Our submitter's wife screamed when he had to slam on the brakes for a Model Y after the driver turned all the way across the road, then turned back into our submitter's lane. Thankfully, our submitter is a better driver than that Tesla driver, and he told us he sang the Tesla behaving badly jingle the whole way home. Adam had just dropped his sons off for Boy Scouts and was on his way to get gas. As he made a protected left turn, an oncoming driver making a right on red failed to yield to Adam and turned into his lane. The oncoming SUV slammed into the side of Adam's Toyota Sienna, knocking it out of control and sending it over an island. This ripped both of Adam's front tires off and destroyed both front wheels. Adam called 911 right away. While he waited for first responders, the SUV driver blamed Adam for the collision and claimed he had the right-of-way. He even tried to leave the scene, which suggests he knew he was at fault. Adam insisted that he wait for the police, and it's a good thing he did. The other driver's insurance paid $7,500 to fix his Toyota. Thankfully, nobody was injured in the collision. Joseph was on his way home from work when he nearly T-boned a car as it came out of nowhere and made an illegal U-turn across his lane. Joseph hit his brakes and his horn at the same time, narrowly missing the car as the driver made their reckless maneuver. Tyra was driving down a California highway when she watched another driver rear-end an SUV after it came to a sudden stop. The impact pushed the SUV into the Ford hatchback in front of it, making this a three-vehicle collision. Tyra was able to get around the wreckage before continuing, and thankfully, it doesn't look like anyone was seriously injured. Kevin spotted a driver behind him slow down and signal to turn left, and at the same time, a pickup driver chose to use the shoulder to illegally pass him. Kevin also spotted a Pima County Sheriff's deputy driving the other way, and the cop spotted the black pickup truck's illegal pass. It took a bit for the deputy to get turned around, but Kevin's dashcam confirms he chased after the pickup to administer instant justice. Got him! Watch what happened to Abdullah out of nowhere. Abdullah was driving down a highway in his Nissan Xterra when an Uber driver with a passenger suddenly sideswiped him. Then he continued driving while Abdullah followed him for 3 miles while on the phone with the police. The cops took the offender's license plate number and asked Abdullah not to follow him. A day later, Abdullah says they located and arrested him for drunk driving and hit and run. Richard was on his way home one evening when an oncoming driver failed to yield to him before turning across his lane. Richard slammed on the brakes and hit the horn, barely avoiding T-boning the turning car. Thanks to his quick reaction, no collision occurred. Alex was driving his Mitsubishi Eclipse when he was suddenly rear-ended by a Chevy pickup truck. Alex stopped and exchanged information with the driver of the pickup truck, and thankfully, it doesn't look like there were any injuries. Andrew was on his way home to pick up his fiancée Amber when he spotted a very unique aircraft in the sky above, an E-2C Hawkeye AWACS belonging to the US Navy. What gives it away is that awesome radar system sitting on top of it, like a pancake on a tripod. Andrew told us he exclaimed, "That's going to Wham Bam!" He also told us that he and Amber love watching our videos together. If you also like our videos, YouTube thinks you'll like this one too, so go see if they're right. If you're new to our channel, check out this collection of the most popular videos we featured in 2024. It's almost an hour long, and every second is action-packed.
Wham, bam, we got a Patreon, man. Please support the show.